You are not imagining it. You keep doing everything right, yet your money still feels like it is jogging on a treadmill. You hear that compounding is magic, but the magic seems to work only for people who already hold a castle of cash. You are not wrong to feel frustrated. You are not broken. You are just bumping into the part of compounding nobody likes to say out loud. Here is the tension you live with. You are told to start early, invest every month, and let time do the heavy lifting. Then you check your balance after a year and see the difference of a few dinners, not a life shift. You start wondering if the game is rigged. You picture a ladder that begins on the third floor while you are still on the sidewalk. You want the truth and a map that does not talk down to you. This is educational, not financial advice. Manage your own risk. The truth is this. Compounding is a snowball, and snowballs need a hill. The hill is either a large starting amount or a serious, repeatable contribution plus a long runway. Without a hill, you are pushing a marble across your kitchen counter. It moves, sure, but not enough to change the rent due date. You are not failing. The physics are just different when your base is small and your horizon is short. You could stop here and say that compounding is a rich person's trick. Or you could do what you do when life corners you, turn anger into a strategy. Harry did exactly that. He worked a warehouse job, earned just enough to keep the lights on, and felt humiliated when the math on compounding did not comfort him. He could shrink or he could build the hill under his future. He chose the second path, and because he did, you can too. First, face the math like an adult. If you start with a small base and add a modest amount every month at a decent rate, the curve is real, but the dollars are tiny at first. A 10% gain on 1,000 adds 100. A 10% gain on 100,000 adds 10,000. The percentage is equal. Your grocery cart does not care about percentages. Your rent does not care about charts. Your life is paid in dollars, so you feel the difference. That does not mean you quit. It means you switch the lever you are pulling. You control two levers now and one lever later. Now you control the size of your base and the force of your monthly flow. Later, you get to argue with the market about return. When your base is small, your flow dominates. 500 added beats a tiny wiggle in return. The fastest way to make compounding feel real is to increase the weight of what is compounding. That is not flashy, but it is reliable and within reach. Harry learned this the hard way. He stopped waiting for a growth rate to rescue him and started treating his contribution like the product. He learned a new skill that paid an extra few hundred a month, not a miracle, just overtime with intention. He sold gadgets he did not use. He cooked at home 5 nights a week. None of that makes for a viral story, but it pushed his snowball to the top of a hill. You are fully capable of the same moves because they are not about luck. They are about repeating small wins until those wins become normal. Here is how you turn this into a plan you can execute this month. Name your hill. The hill has 3 parts: base, flow, and runway. Base is the cash you control and refuse to leak. Flow is the money you add on purpose every single month. Runway is the number of years you keep your hands off the snowball. Most people obsess over finding a higher percentage. That might help at the margins, but the biggest unlock at the beginning is flow. When your base is tiny, every extra dollar of flow beats chasing cleverness. Harry kept it simple. He used broad, low-fee index funds for his long-term pile, kept a boring emergency buffer, and built skills to raise flow. He was not trying to impress a professor. He was trying to create a hill steep enough that the same 10% could feel like something you can touch. You can follow that exact blueprint. Keep fees low, automate your flows, learn one saleable skill each quarter. Remove high-interest debt because debt is negative compounding that drags your snowball back up the hill. You might still feel the itch to optimize. That is normal for someone who cares. So here is the mindset shift that saves you from burnout. In the first few years, you are not an investor. You are a builder who uses investing to protect the bricks you lay. You build the hill, then the snowball rolls. You are not behind. You are in stage 1, and stage 1 looks quiet from the outside. Let me show you what stage 1 and stage 2 look like so your brain stops fighting you. In stage 1, your contributions dominate. If you add 500 a month and earn a decent single-digit return, the majority of your growth for a while comes from the 500, not the return. In stage 2, the compounding finally overtakes your contribution. That is when people call it magic, But what they really did is endure stage 1 without breaking the routine. You can do that. You have done harder things than consistency. Here is a line worth saving in your notes. When your base is small, optimize flow. When your base is mid-sized, protect the plan. When your base is large, optimize return. That one line keeps you from wrestling the wrong lever at the wrong time. It also gives you permission to be boring in the months where boring is correct. Harry's shift clicked when he set a simple rule. He promised his contribution would grow by at least 10% every quarter until he hit a base that made the return feel meaningful. That forced him to hunt for skill raises, not stock picks. He took a free course, then charged a small freelance fee, then raised it. He changed jobs when the ceiling was too low. Each jump added slope to his hill. Here is what matters for you. Every single move connected to his real life within the next 90 days. You can design the same near-term loop. Here is the plot twist you can use. You do not have to win by finding a perfect investment. You can win by compounding your contribution. You give yourself a raise you control. You stack permanent changes that survive busy weeks and tired nights. You design habits that pay you in dollars, not only in virtue points. Your snowball gets heavier. The same return suddenly matters more because it is working on something worthy of its power. Let us zoom out to why this matters emotionally. When you chase growth first, you hand your mood to a number you cannot control. When you build the hill first, you get daily wins. You log off your shift with an extra hour build. You cook a meal and keep $40 that used to vanish in delivery fees. You cancel a subscription and redirect that cash to your flow. You feel momentum. Your brain rewards you. That keeps you in the game long enough for compounding to finally wake up. If you are thinking that time matters and you are already in your 30s, good. Time does matter. That is exactly why you stop waiting for an investment miracle and you stack flow immediately. Douglas would call it a probability mindset. You stop trying to guarantee an outcome, and you increase the number of favorable events. A higher income skill here, a lower fee there, a contribution bump next month. Each move increases the odds that your future self sees the curve you have been promised. There is another reason compounding feels like it only works with a large sum. Life volatility keeps punching your base in the face. Emergencies, surprise taxes, broken cars. If you do not create a buffer, every punch forces you to liquidate your snowball. Harry learned this when his car died and he sold the fund he had nurtured for 2 years. That hurt. So he rebuilt with a twist. He kept a boring, separate buffer that he never invested. It felt slow. It saved the snowball. You can do the same, and you will thank yourself the first time life throws a jab and your plan does not flinch. Now for the hard truth that becomes your superpower. You cannot afford to think in 1-year blocks. You build in seasons. Season 1 is survival plus skills. Season 2 is stacking a real base. Season 3 is scale and automation. Season 4 is optimizing return. You move through the seasons faster than you think once you stop trying to do all of them at once. Harry burned months tinkering with fancy allocations when he had a 3-digit base. When he dropped that and turned to flow, his mood improved and his balances followed. Here is a quick test you can use this week. If your base is under 5 figures, your number one job is to raise flow and erase bad debt. If your base is above 5 figures, your job is to keep flow rising and to stay invested through the boring stretches. If your base is 6 figures, now you get to work on tax placement, risk calibration, and finding a return that matches your sleep. Every level is earned. You are capable of climbing because you control the step that matters most. Harry's proof sits quietly in your day. He went from, "This will never work for me," to "This is working and I can point to why." He kept his expenses honest. He negotiated his rent once and redirected the savings to his flow. He asked for responsibility at work and got a title bump that paid more every month. He took on a part-time service that fit his evenings. He did not fall in love with grind. He fell in love with installing systems that survived his tired days. You can do the same because you can build systems that do not depend on perfect energy. Add one more gear and protect yourself from traps that pretend to be hills. Anything that promises rapid compounding with low risk is selling you a story, not a system. Your edge is boredom. Bogle would smile because fees and churn kill snowballs. Steenbarger would nod because self-coaching beats self-shaming. Schwager would remind you that survival is the first rule. You can be ambitious and still reject shortcuts that evaporate your base. Here is your script for the next 4 weeks. Week 1. Choose a skill that can add a small freelance line or a promotion path. Break it into micro-lessons you can do in 30 minutes a day. Week 2. Audit expenses with a ruthless but kind eye. Keep the things you truly use and cut the rest. Week 3. Set automation, so your flow moves to the right buckets the day you get paid. Week 4. Protect your energy by designing default meals, default workouts, and default deep work blocks so you do not spend willpower you could invest elsewhere. You are not chasing perfection. You are installing rails. Somewhere in the middle of this month, you will feel a click. You will see your flow rise by a small step, and you will realize the step is permanent. That is the click. Harry felt the first time a client asked for more of the thing he had just learned. That small extra invoice became a line, then 2 lines, then a bigger base. He looked back a year later and saw that the majority of his account growth came from his contribution, not from the market. That used to depress him. Now it made him proud because it meant he controlled the lever that mattered. Here is the quiet truth that frees you from shame. Compounding does not ignore you. It waits for you to give it something heavy enough to roll. You will get there by focusing on flow and runway first. Your contribution becomes the hero of your early story. Your investment choices are the bodyguards that protect the hero. That is not pessimism. That is control. If this helped you breathe easier, type your reset phrase in the comments so you remember it. Use "build the hill." If you share that, I will share back specific flow ideas Harry used that match your situation and your schedule. Before we close, sit with this picture. You wake up on a Thursday you used to dread. Your bills are covered by last month's you. Your flow is already allocated. Your snowball is quiet, steady, and boring. You are learning AEO, new skill in short bursts. You no longer obsess over the exact return because your base makes any reasonable return meaningful. You feel lighter because you control the part that truly compounds first, your behavior. You do not need a castle of cash to start. You need a hill. You build it with flow, patience, and systems that survive your real life. Harry is proof that a humble base can become loud enough for compounding to finally sing. You are the hero of the story, and the next move is simple. Decide the size of your hill, design your next flow increase, and let time do what time does after you do what you can do today. If this lowered your pulse, subscribe and meet me for the next step. I will be here, ready to build the next layer with you.